When wizards stream on Twitch, they use a glyph overlay. Fresh and Buds now.
Fresh and
All right, folks, welcome back to yet another episode of Fresh and Buds. I'm your host, Tommy Fresh, and you are all my buds. And today, unfortunately, we're joined once again by MoBogsly. No, that is a joke, of course. We all love Mo. Mo is here, a.k.a. Mark Johnson, a.k.a. Team Ascent leader. And I don't know if that's true. Let's just get him really in trouble with the rest of his team. How's it going, Mark? How you doing, buddy?
It was a great day until you messaged me to be on the show. But besides that, it's been a great day. No complaints.
Well, yesterday I messaged you. And
you ruined my whole day today.
Yeah,
and last night, actually.
Damn, I'm so sorry, but honestly, it had to happen because we had Charles Dunn on last week. We talked about some Runeblade stuff. Got to talk about some Wizard stuff with this set, and who better to talk about it than two-time second place Battle Hardened competitor than MoBogsly, which I think won. It was both Kano. No.
One Kano, one Prism.
Okay. All right.
Because Kano was banned for one of them, so I couldn't play him.
Yeah, that's also
unlucky.
Very unlucky. And, I have faith now that we have some new Wizards that you will get another second place at a Battle Hardened with one of them in likely Blitz, which we will talk about in a bit. Now, before we get to that, you've been doing some stuff. You're up to some stuff. You just did some casting for the Card Guys Rosetta show match. How did that go?
Yeah, it was so much fun. I love casting. Casting high level games is also a ton of fun. The Card Guys, Blue Pitch, just both stand up teams, both stand up members, and it was a ton of fun. I know we had Brian Gottlieb in the chat for a little bit. When I looked, we had like 375 viewers, so it was a great time, and I learned a lot about the classic constructed format just in that 2 hours.
And what are some things you learned? What are some things that surprised you from that experience in terms of the CC format?
Yeah, Oscilio didn't look great. Runeblade looked insane. Vizori's back. All the Runeblade decks have on-hits now, so it's kind of scary. This meta is going to be so much fun, and I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Runeblade definitely seems to be back, and it's a nostalgic thing. I mean, we're old enough to remember when Runeblade, it didn't seem like you could escape Runeblade. And then
back in my day,
they disappeared. Now they're back. And you think this is good for the game?
I mean, back in the day, I was always a Chain player. So I grew up with the blood, sweat, and tears of Chain. I was a Vizori Scaletta main. Like, I danced with the Runeblades for a while until James White said no. So...
Well, good for you. James White has said yes again to Runeblades, and there's 3 of them, and they all look pretty cool at this point. Well, there's 3 legal ones, and there's some more that we won't talk about. 2 of them are in Living Legend, but I think maybe we shouldn't unban Duskblade, right? What are you saying, 4? Am I missing one?
Yeah, there's 4 Runeblades right now, Tommy. This is really awkward.
Oh my God, Vincent! Oh my God!
That's why I gave you the funny look. I was like, "Are you sure there's 3?"
Vincent is a Runeblade. Holy smokes! I always look at Vincent. I'm like, this is just a Levia deck because it's.
Don't insult Levia like that. That is the meanest thing you could say.
Vincent's got some game now too. Not as much game as the other Runeblades, but like I think that's probably why I'm forgetting about Vincent. But for all the Vincent fans out there, I apologize.
I'm sorry that I play Vincent as well.
Listen, hey, we're not gonna bully today. That was the agreement. We're just not bullying anybody except you. And speaking of bullying you, Team Ascent, what's going on there? This is the team that you belong to. Are you guys gonna win anything anytime soon? I do have it typed in here. Are you losers gonna win something anytime sooner?
Whoa.
And also, follow-up question: can I join?
So actually, I tabled that with the team after Tampa. I was going to tell you this privately. But I said, "Hey guys, Tommy," and they're like, "Who?" And I'm like, Tommy, you know him." And I like told them some things about you that I learned that weekend. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And they also no one on Ascent actually likes you, which is why you can only ever get me and Dagan on your channel. Everybody else is just too good for you. Weird, I know.
Well, what does that say about you and Dagan? I mean,
we have low standards. Okay, we'll take anything we can get.
All right, Dagan, comment below that you don't mean that, and that MoBogsly doesn't mean that. But now, how is the team going? Because we do have a big tournament coming up, which is Worlds, and also ProQuest season as well. Are you guys feeling confident?
Yeah, so the teams have been going really well. We're just always right on that bubble, right? So for Nationals, we were like, I think 9th place and 22nd place. And then Mara would have been there as well, but we played each other. So one of us got 22nd, the other fell down.
Mm-hmm.
But like, we're always like top 16, top 30. Like, we're always like close, but just stuff goes a little bit better our way and be a lot better. It's a little bit unfortunate there. Tampa was great. Had a ton of fun there. Went 7-2 day one. How'd your Tampa go, Tommy? That went well, all right? Yeah, cool. Good.
I 4-0'd the world premiere. Thank you very much. And then in the calling, I started 3-0, and I was like, wow, I cannot lose with Aurora. And then I proceeded to lose 3 times in a row. One being on stream, of course. Or at least, I don't know if I ever made it on stream. I must have been the backup match. But that was an Aurora mirror, and unfortunately lost. But yeah, let's focus on you, MoBogsly. How did day 2 go?
Day 2 went great. I started the first draft at 2-1. Was feeling pretty good about it. And then the second draft happened, and I drafted a lightning class because that sounded like fun. And I forgot that lightning, they don't block. So you're trading life, you're having a good time, and then you draw your hand, and it's like 3 sigils and something else, and you're like, damn, this kind of sucks.
Yeah. The lightning classes, I mean, certainly better in draft than they are in sealed. And you could see some really like powerful stuff going on, especially with Aurora and like Oscilio. But Oscilio's scary, right? We saw some really cool Oscilio stuff happen that weekend. But it's scary because it's less life. It's kind of a glass cannon. Who knows what's going to happen, especially it was a new format. But lightning is not doing the same powerful things sometimes that Earth is doing, or the same consistent things. So, but I'm proud of you for making day 2. And, honestly, I just like to see a Bud there and really doing it. So now, enough about that. We got to talk about Blitz before we really get into Rosetta here. I believe we've had discussions like in the past, anytime you've been on, especially since the sideboard rules changed. You said Blitz was ruined. I'm never playing it again. I hate Blitz. You were gonna write your senator about how much you hated Blitz and how you want it to go away. And then we are in Tampa. We stayed together in Tampa, and you made me do a Blaze Mirror. So what gives, MoBogsly? You were playing Blitz with a new wizard. Are you back on the Blitz train?
So that was Saturday before the calling, I believe. We were sitting down, and I had 2 games in my bag. Arshmallows, Germany's favorite marshmallow butt game, or my Blaze deck. And I thought about it. I was like, I need to kill some time, right? I just got whooped at the world premiere. Terrible experience. Was not winning any games. I said, I need a confidence boost. No shot Tommy's going to beat me. Let's pull out this Blaze deck and just do the mirror. So thank you so much for that Blaze mirror. Felt amazing to get that off my chest. I was really hoping you were going to ask me about that because
did we even finish the game? Did I lose?
You died, and then we had to leave.
Oh yeah,
because you burnt all your AB to kill me, so you had no AB left, and I just killed you.
Yeah. For context, we used the same deck with the same equipment, so it was very confusing. And I had never played Blaze before, but it was very cool. And so I'm happy to see that you at least have a Blitz deck sleeved up and ready to go. And we'll see about how these new heroes are in Blitz. But we're not going to talk about a lot of Blitz this week. Just wanted to bring that up, that happened. and it was a little wild. Now, Rosetta isn't technically out, MoBogsly. It is out probably tomorrow or at midnight. If you're listening to this episode when it comes out, Rosetta is released upon the world. We had pre-releases last weekend, but we've seen every card, and both of us have probably messed around with these cards quite a bit at this point, testing stuff. I need to ask what your Rosetta fresh faves are. Let's start. Hero. Who's your favorite hero coming out of Rosetta?
This hurts because I think it's the worst hero coming out of Rosetta, but Oscilio. I love that boy. I think he's not a good deck, but man, is he fun. It's a lightning wizard. He's just a lot of fun to play, but he's just not great. Maybe in Blitz, he can get there with the lower life totals and his speed might matter. But currently, I feel like if you throw any disruption, a CNC, weakest link, a pummel, just anything, he just goes, I guess I'll say go. And he just loses his whole turn. He can't block. He just doesn't do much.
He doesn't do a whole lot, though I do think there's probably something there. I think we gotta be missing something, right? Maybe not. It's like, what's up with this weird hero?
I think what we're missing is Art of War and Tomes and
no.
All this stuff just got banned. I feel like Oscilio with Art of War is what they were testing, and that's what he was balanced around. Honestly, I feel like the deck is lacking a little bit of oomph, a little bit of card draw, a little bit of go again, and I feel like Art of War was the glue that we're just missing.
It's possible, but we'll never know. Well, I guess we'll know in Living Legend, to be honest, which would be interesting. Now, weapon. We got four weapons out of this set. Which is your favorite?
I feel like both the staffs are super interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The lightning one caring about playing lightning cards, and the earth one amping is just super interesting. And there are two staffs that we haven't really seen done before. Mm-hmm. A staff that says we will amp X, or a staff that says we'll give you a token if you deal arcane damage, are both just like interesting game design mechanics. And I really can't choose one or the other because as a wizard main, I've had one staff my whole life. Like I've had other staffs technically, but I've had one staff my whole life. And sure, Kano can't use these staffs, but I'm excited to see where they go with the staff game design.
Yeah, it's very interesting because Volzar is probably the more playable one out of the two. We're seeing a lot of Verdant's decks playing the Surgent Aethertide, which is another staff that really didn't see a lot of play until now. I guess maybe a little bit here and there with some other decks, but it should be interesting to see because I like the what's it called? The shoots, Aether shoots, the green one, the earth one. I like that kind of gameplay loop of pitching a blue earth to amp and then hopefully get a embodiment, because embodiments are really good in Wizard because you're playing so many 3-block non-attacks, which makes that chess piece really good as well. So speaking of chess pieces, what is your favorite equipment from the set?
Favorite equipment? This is a hard one as well because we've got a lot of cool equipment so far in this set. The more I play with them, the more I test it. At first, I thought it was the Runeblade helmet. I thought that card was sick. The play patterns just don't line up. You get the Runeblade hands, it doesn't really help you. So that's not my favorite anymore. I really like the Arcane Skullcap chest. I forgot the name of it.
Arcanite something. I'll tell you in 1 second.
But that just a reason to go back to playing Skullcap makes me so happy inside. I'm a fab boomer. Skullcap used to be the best headpiece. It was so much fun. So good to use. And it kind of just fell out of flavor. But if they can make a Skullcap set, I'm just excited. I want to see maybe they make the arms AB, where AB is the amount of Skullcaps you're wearing, and the feet do something else cool. Like, I just think that design space is super cool, and I'm glad that we got another generic chest that might not rival Tunic yet, but maybe in the future it will.
Yeah, it's Arcanite Fortress, and it is very cool. I like that answer too. It's kind of interesting. It gets pretty good when you start playing a full set of Arcanite whatevers.
Yeah.
because if you don't know, this says it has star block. So this card's defense is equal to the number of equipment you control with Arcanite in their name, which is currently only 2 things, Arcanite Skullcap and this, Arcanite Fortress. And then it also has Spell Void X, where X is the amount of same text line there. And then Guardwell, which we've seen on Balance of Justice. So yeah, it gets pretty insane, even once you get to 3 Arcanite cards. But if they're going to do, I have to imagine they're going to do full set. So blocking 4 and having Spell Void 4 seems pretty crazy. Arcanite, great answer. And I too am a boomer. And you said it used to be the best headpiece in the game. What if it still is and we don't even realize it?
There's so many cool new headpieces. There's so many cards that like Crown, for example, being able to just get rid of your arsenal or card from hand. Like these get out of jail headpieces that, listen, I'm in a bad habit at this point. I played Crown for so much. I'll be like, this is a terrible card. I'll arsenal it now, get rid of it in a turn or two. Like,
oh yeah.
Like it's just like, I feel like if I get rid of that, I'll be like, oh, I can't arsenal. Like it just ruins that play pattern of put a bad card down there and get rid of it later.
It's funny. I've been testing other decks that aren't Riptide, and I feel spoiled playing Trench and being able to filter my arsenal whenever I want. So very interesting. Now, what is your favorite other card from the set? We have a lot of cool Majestics and stuff like that.
So hard. So there's a lot of, like you said, really cool cards in this set. And I've been thinking about this for a while because I don't know exactly which one's my favorite. For example, you have the new Sigil of Kano, as I call it, which is the sigil that at the start of your turn, banish top card of your deck. If it's a non-attack action card, you can just play it as an instant. It lets you Sigil in these other wizard decks, and that's so cool. Then there's Sigil of Brilliance, which is the Oscilio specialization that lets you draw a card when it leaves play. And then you can just keep bouncing that in Oscilio and just get massive like cards. That's so much fun. Then there's the Channel Lightning card that lets you draw a card the first time you hit each turn. And that card's a lot of fun. There's just so many cool cards that I'm just like testing and playing. I'm like, wow, I can draw cards, but they make me work for it. And it's just such a fun set. It might be my favorite set in a long time, and I loved MST. I've said MST was the best set in a long time, and now this set comes along, and I'm like, my brain.
They upped the ante. They went totally Olympia on us, and they upped the ante.
And there's one more card I need to mention, which is the Betsy specialization.
Oh,
that card is insane. Yeah. On a hit, they discard, you draw. Amazing.
So I didn't know that this card had even been spoiled, or I don't know if it was like opened. and MoBogsly came over to me at Tampa and was like, "Oh yeah, that Betsy specialization is insane." I was like, "What are you talking about? There's no Betsy specialization." He's like, "Oh no, it's actually really good." And you never know with MoBogsly if he's telling the truth. And then he shows me this Drink 'em Under the Table. Pretty insane. What? 4 cost, 8 attack, 3 block. When it attacks a hero, you may wager with them. The winner draws a card and the other discards a card. That's insane. So good for Betsy.
Insane for Betsy. Probably not good still, but insane.
Hey, listen, we are in an a less powered meta now that we had those big bans. So we'll talk about that in a second. Now, have I asked you? No, I don't. This is a new question we've been asking. What class and talent would you be if you
did
were?
Ask me this.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
What did you answer?
Wait, I remember your guess. That's great. No, I'm glad.
This is a new question.
Special for you, Tommy. I'm glad that you forget what you've asked us. That's.
Oh yeah. What did you answer? If you know so well.
It was a Shadow Mech, I believe it was, because I asked if I could combine that because technically Mech.
Oh, true.
Thing. So I want to be a Shadow Mech.
Totally fair. I do remember that. That's all coming back to me. Wow.
Thanks for paying attention.
That was a great episode. Now let's talk about Wizard. Wizard. First of all, before we get into these new wizards, how are you feeling about these bans and what it means for Wizard, because these bans hit a couple cards that Kano especially really like to play. Tome of Fyendal and then Aetherwind. Tome of Aetherwind? What's going on?
I'm a big tome guy.
Okay.
Huge tome guy, as the streets would say.
Me too.
No, like, when those bans came out, I was expecting Wildfire, to be honest. I was like, maybe this is the time when they ban Wildfire. Not knowing how these current Wizards were going to play, I was like, maybe they could, play instant speed and Wildfire is a problem. And I saw Tome was banned. And then it kind of like hit me like, wow, I have Kano'd into my last Tome. Like, I could do it in LL still. But like, that was such an iconic, like, blind Kano hoping to hit Tome.
Mm-hmm.
Hit with Lesson in Lavas, put Tome on top, Kano, draw 2, hoping for like 2 blues or something. Like, there's so many weird things you could do to like get yourself out of situations. And that hurts. I also would love to play Oscilio with Tome of Fyendals and Arsenal, draw 2, gain some life, and like see where those play, and then blink, and then like see what we can do from there.
Yeah.
But now we can't, and it hurts. It hurts, Tommy. I want to cry. I talked to my therapist about this, actually.
Well, I'm happy that you're doing that. That's a very positive thing. Now, I think we can probably admit that it might be better for the game long term. These draw 2, I want to say spells, non-attack actions, kind of being absent from CC could be very good for the game, because we just see some heroes, some decks just abuse it. And I don't think Kano necessarily was abusing it, but certainly drawing 2 sometimes felt like, okay, I can't beat the amount of cards that Kano's drawing right now. So I understand. Now, the funny thing is, you know what I learned today, MoBogsly? This is how little I've played Wizard.
Flesh of Blood?
No, I play a lot of Flesh of Blood. This is how, I don't really read Wizard cards. I just believe my opponent. I'm like building Oscilio and I throw Wildfire in there. I'm like, this is so good. This is such a good card. It's opponent's turn. I'm like, oh man, because I had this like whole combo thing set up. I'm like, oh, I'm just going to deal 41 damage in a single turn with either Wildfire or Oscilio, and then it doesn't let me do that because it's on my opponent's turn. So that's probably why that card won't ever be banned. I think because only Kano, not only Kano, but really only Kano can really do it. So let's talk about these new Wizards that aren't going to use either Wildfire. Maybe. I don't know. I'd be surprised. Verdance. Talk about Verdance first. Kind of the more figured out of the Wizard, right? It has more of this battle mage term that they've coined, the LSS devs, where you need to play attacks because you want to decompose, right? So you're playing felling of the tree or whatever it's called, and then there's the one that's like a CNC, and then you're playing the Carapace as well. I need to learn these names of these cards. I'm doing the set review this weekend, folks, so that's when I learn it all. What are your thoughts here? Is this going to be a viable deck? It's a 40 health Wizard. So there are a lot of options here, and some people are finding some really cool stuff with the hero.
Yeah, so she's interesting because I've seen like 5 different ways to play her. There's the classic like Battle Mage, Tempo, really just try to like play that kind of game where like the Hamilton Icelander, right? Where like I'm going to send Wounded Bull, block, send another big number. Because these decomposed cards are so good at attacking your hand or doing other things like that. That being said, I don't think that's the best version. I think while the Tempo plan is interesting, I think they're not realizing that she's still a wizard and she can do really cool wizard things. There's also the OTK version where they're playing this like slow, grindy, block a lot, and like chip you down. And then they triple the one card that they just like gain a bunch of life, and they amp equals the life they gained.
Mm-hmm. That's rampant growth.
Yeah. So they'll play like 3 of those in a turn, and they'll break their helmet to get it back from their graveyard and play another one.
Yeah.
And it's just like, how do I beat this kind of like situation? So that's another way you can play it. And then you play any 0 cost, like Mind Warp. You Mind Warp for like 50, and then it's like, well, I guess I die. I don't know. There's just so many ways I don't think she's figured it out. And when you sit down across from one, it's like, do I play Crown of Providence if they send big attacks? Do I play an AB helmet instead if they're all AB? Because I've also seen like fully AB versions that play like bare minimum Earth cards, and they only block or discard to gain life. They never attack with them. So your armor never gets the block. And there's just so many things I just think about. Like, I don't know if they're going to be all arcane, if they're going to be all attacks, if they're going to be OTK combo deck. Like, I don't know what the deck's going to look like, and it's super interesting to see it evolve.
Yeah, going into ProQuest season, that's going to be the biggest question, right? We're going to see a lot of different versions of Verdants, and maybe by Worlds, there will be kind of like a set standard, like what to expect, what's the best version, at least so we think, and then another team brings a different version, and things get all crazy. Also, the names of the cards that I was forgetting before were Felling of the Crown, Plow Under, as well as some others.
Those 2 are insane.
They're so good. You just play them anyway because it's a good disruptive attack that's going to get your Earth cards into the banish zone. And then also the channel, the Millennium Tree, is like really good. So I played into a version of this deck today, actually, that was playing channel, right? Channel the Millennium Tree, and was going Surgeon Aethertide. So it basically, what that does is you're kicking the amp down the road, right? You're amping your Surgeon Aethertide, and then the Surgeon Aethertide basically has amp as well if it hits, right? So you're going like, do I prevent the Surgeon Aethertide, or do I try to prevent whatever's coming after the Surgeon Aethertide? So it is a pretty interesting version of this deck. They're not doing like a huge, big attack, except for like that rampant growth version. I'm interested to see where it really lands. Barkskin of the Millennium Tree is a card I'm seeing overperform in this deck. This is the legendary Earth equipment chest. When it defends, if you have 4 or more Earth cards, you get an embodiment. So you can defend something with this and a non-attack action, get the embodiment, and all of a sudden it gets automatically buffed, which is pretty incredible. So do you think this like defensive version is where we should be looking with Verdance? Because she does it really well.
That's the hard part, because you also get the helmet and the boots that are 2 more cards in your graveyard that you can then decompose later. And she has a hero ability that late game she can just be like 1/1/1/1/1 while also gaining life. So it's almost impossible to like try to get that late game edge on her. She's insane. Like, I am honestly scared to sit down against her at the ProQuest season and not know how to sideboard, because I have seen multiple people, even in the Ascent Discord, one plays this version, one plays that version, and I'm like, I'm going to sideboard wrong 50% of the time, and it's just insane.
I think
it's kind of like Dash, where Dash can be aggro or control, and you take that coin flip before the game starts.
Yeah, it makes you almost just want to play a proactive deck, right? If you're not going to play her, you just want to play something that's going to do its plan, and if you can disrupt it, okay, you got me. But if not, I can push through whatever you're doing, because it's a slow build for her, right? It's not to really get to her full potential. Her and Florian are both like this, right? They have this hero ability that only unlocks after, the 8 cards in Banish Zone. I will say Florian does just fine without it. Verdant seems to kind of really need it to like be at full power, and it's going to be interesting where she lands. I will say, and this is going to be the main difference between her and Oscilio that we're about to talk about, is that she has fairer cards. I think that, you have to do just a bunch of fair cards together, and it's a really good game plan. And we're about to talk about Oscilio here, who I actually think has a few cards that I would not be surprised if get banned one day.
I will say Command and Decompose is not a fair card. That card is insane.
Which one is this? This is Plow Under. Yeah, that card's quite good.
The other one that takes a card from your hand and bottoms it, fine, fair. The one that targets your arsenal
is quite good.
Kind of bonkers. I'm not gonna lie. That is the one card that every time my opponent plays it, you start to stabilize. You arsenal that, Blood Rush, and you're like, next turn's my turn, no blocks, and they're like, get rid of your arsenal, and you're like, I guess I got a pitch stack now to get this Blood Rush back in my hand.
Yeah, it's I think it's good. It's definitely very good, right? And I think but the nice thing about it is you already know you lost your arsenal, so you can block however you want. You're like, I don't have to worry about tricks, whatever.
Isn't it also for 8? So
no, that one's for 6. It's a 2 for 6.
Okay.
The Felling of the Crown is for 8. So I mean, yeah, 6 is no joke still.
It's still Mana Conquer that you can block and it still eats your arsenal.
Yeah, it's quite good. Both of them are pretty insane, and you can see why the rare and common versions of the decomposed cards were 2 blocks compared to these 3 blocks. Which
I will say, the one that also eats an aura is insane.
Summer's Fall.
I was playing Aurora against Rhea, and every time I was like, I got my embodiment of lightning. This is gonna be great. She goes to her turn, and she's like, bottom that, and look at my hand, my arsenal. I'm like, cool, I got 3 no blocks and no go again. So I guess I'll just be sad here.
Yeah, I mean it's quite good because you can get rid of blood rot tokens, inertias. Yeah, I mean
Mirage, bye bye. See you later.
Yeah. See you later. Earth got some juice here, but I do want to talk about lightning. And Oscilio, I want to talk about because you said Oscilio is probably not good, but Oscilio has some cards that need to be talked about. And the one that I want to talk about the most, now, which card do you think I'm going to say?
Gone in the Flash.
No. I think that Eclectic Magnetism is a card that scares me with the potential of what it does. Am I wrong for saying that? For those of you who don't know, it's a lightning attack. Attacks for 5, blocks 3, cost 1. When this attacks, you may play... it's a non-attack action card, this chain link, as though it were an instant. I thought it was any amount. That would have been insane.
So I was staring at you because I was like, Tommy, I don't play this card in Oscilio. I don't know what card you're talking about. But I think with Tome, if Tome was legal, 100%.
Yeah. For sure.
1,000% it'd be broken.
For sure. Okay, I changed my mind. That card is... No, it's totally fine. I think it's probably better in Aurora, to be honest. But yeah, Gone in a Flash, let's talk about the real one. That's the problem. Gone in a Flash, for those of you who don't know, 0 cost, 4 attack, 3 block. Okay, 0 for 4. What's going on here? When this attacks, the next time you play an instant card, this chain link, you may return it to its owner's hand. So you do it after damage resolves while the chain link is still active. You play it, you get it back. If you have a ton of action points, perhaps from Lightning Greaves, which is the legendary lightning equipment that you destroy, instant cards you play this turn get go again. This seems like a pretty intense thing because we've seen this card attack for a lot and then amp with Volzar quite a bit because it's a lightning card itself. So each time it's being played is increasing the amount that you can amp. What are your thoughts here?
It's fun. I don't think it's ban worthy.
Okay.
But it's fun. I think it's a fun card. Most of the time you play it, you do need to burn your boots. So it is kind of like a big setup, but you need the boots, you need that in Arsenal, and you need at least 3 instants, right? Because you need to do stuff. And then you want one of those instants to be a sigil, so your staff is free. And then you want the last card to be a 0 cost non-attack, so you can actually send it. So it's not like completely like, oh my god, I drew it, let me attack 40 times. It's more of a like, I drew it, hopefully I have channel out so I can draw a card on hit. Hopefully I have this, hopefully I have that. But when it does go off, it does feel like, wow, I just got hit for 16 to 20 damage by this one card, and it amped 10, and I'm getting Mind Warped for 14. So the card I wanted to keep, I don't have anymore. So when that card goes off, it goes off. The problem is you need all those instants. You need the leg piece. You need this. You need that. And a lot of times you just don't have that, or you don't have the time in Oscilio to not block and not get disrupted because so many decks are CNC. So many decks are weakest link. You have these Earth cards that are taxing you. So I don't think it's insane, but it's a ton of fun.
It is. And I mean, certainly good in Aurora as well, but I'm just so interested to see what the plan is here. We've seen this, like, I don't know if it's the ceiling, but we see the huge pop-off, right? Potential with Oscilio. We've seen it. A lot of people have made videos already, and it's very cool when it's not interacted with. You're like, oh, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And then people send a CNC. You're just like, oh no. Mm-hmm. Or a plow under. So what's the future of Oscilio? I gotta know. Like, because should we be looking at different versions of what this deck could be? Because maybe it could do the finals fighting spirit thing, right? It starts lower life. I mean, I don't want to speak out of turn here, but that is a possibility. And then you kind of set up for this one big turn where you amp maybe 4 or 5, and then you do your thing. What do you think?
I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be sick to have this like wounded Bolo Cilio deck that takes worlds by storm and all that. But then you look at like basically you're playing with no hero box then, right? Because you're not playing instants, so you can't discard them to draw a card. The lightning tag doesn't matter as much if you're filling your deck up with these, fighting spirits and stuff. So you can't amp as much. It just like really doesn't come together, unfortunately. I do think that we'll get an Oscilio specialization hopefully kind of soon that does something. I love the sigil. I love his sigil that draws a card. But right now, there's not enough ways to bounce that. There's not enough ways to get multiple card draws off of it without a lot of work and really playing some worse cards than you should be, I think, to just draw cards. And at that point, just play better cards.
Can you look at this and say, I want to scour my own sigils and do something? Because that's something I looked at. I'm like, oh, what can I do to like get rid of a bunch of my sigils to like make something happen? I think you can target your own auras with scour. You have to take the damage, unfortunately.
Yeah, so the big problem with that is, one, I mean, you can like you can destroy them. I have destroyed them before for weird situations. But like, yes, you take the damage. Cool, that's terrible. And then it doesn't have go again. So like, sure, you destroyed like 3 or 4 sigils and you did 4 to yourself and pitched 2 cards to do that. And now you have all these sigils leaving. But Tommy, what are you doing with those sigils leaving?
You don't understand, MoBogsly. Listen, we're going to figure this out. We're not ending this podcast till we figured it out. No, you play all the sigils. You popped Greaves already. So you played all the sigils. And then you're like, oh, look at all these extra action points I have. I'm really having a great time. One of those action points is the scour. I pop all my sigils back to my hand, or no, I destroy them. But if you
played all those sigils, you have no cards in hand to then pay for scour.
No, I left 1 blue with my scour so I can target 3, and then I draw 3 cards because obviously I played all 3 of the Oscilio sigils. Listen, there's
so why don't you just draw 3 real cards to start that off with instead of playing 3 sigils?
MoBogsly, listen. Why do you gotta be a,
so this was a 2% application, and after this interview, unfortunately, it's a no.
Hey, listen, I'm trying to think outside the box. You guys need that. So I don't know. I just want Oscilio to be good. Why is
I do too. That's my boy. He's my lightning boy. Like, Me and him are going to be dogs. We went to the same college together.
That's so true. Here's a question. Here's a card that I look at a lot when I look at this set. Eternal Inferno. Probably not in Oscilio, but in Kano, could this not be something really sick you can do on a wildfire turn?
Hold on, I'm trying to find it.
Oh, I guess no, because you can only play it as instant once. So you have to do it in Oscilio with a bunch of action points and somehow amp it each time, which is really hard to do. But I guess you can do it with the chorus card. You discard some chorus stuff, but God, there's something there. There's a lot of upside.
Why can't I find this card?
You can't find Eternal Inferno?
Eternal. Are they saying internal?
No,
this is awkward.
Eternal.
This is awkward. So fun fact about this card. In the draft day 2, a foil stamped one was passed to me.
Okay.
And I looked at that. And me being the wizard boy I am, it was like a good lightning card or this.
And you took the lightning card.
I did. And that hurt. That hurt deep down.
Oh.
But I don't think the card is good, which is the real thing. I don't think it's good. It doesn't. You don't have an action point to play it normally.
Yeah.
So you need, like you were saying, you need action point generation. It's a 1-for-4. So you have to amp it. The surge has to hit. You still need the action point. Like, there's so much working against it. I just don't see a world where it's good.
Right now.
Right now, yes, right now.
Interesting.
When the Shadow Wizard comes out and you can play stuff and banish.
Oh, man. That would be so sick. All right, next question. Destructive Aethertide. This card seems insane. This is like a no-brainer in most wizard decks. For those who don't know, this is a blue 0-cost wizard action that blocks 3. Deal 1 arcane damage to any target. That's on rate for a blue 0, but it has Surge. If this deals more than 1 damage to a hero, destroy a card in their arsenal.
Yeah, this card hyped me up. But I was very annoyed when it was just another zap. That hurt my wizard brain. And I saw this card, and I was like, wow, it's blue. Normally they make these cards yellow, right?
Yeah.
Normally the cards with a cool effect in Wizard are yellows, and it sucks to play because you don't want to play yellows. But this card's insane. Normally Wizards don't have interaction outside of damage. So me being able to say, that's a cute arsenal you got there, Tommy. What if you didn't have it? You know, like, what if you don't have that arsenal?
I'll say Trench, GG, have fun. And I prevent
well,
one of the
then you're not playing a real deck, so I just win, right? Like,
Riptide's not good into Wizard, so I'm probably in trouble anyway. Oh man. So let's take a look here. We have 3 legal wizards: Oscilio, Verdance, Kano. We just talked a lot about Oscilio and Verdance. Kano, the biggest changes here have been that there's no more draw 2 cards in the deck. Unless you play the new common, which is called something. What is it called? Is it a common? Yes. Open the floodgates. What? Tome of Zap?
Tome of Zap, yeah.
No, this one costs 2. Don't worry. It is not a Zap. It costs 2. And then if you deal more than 3 damage, draw 2 cards. So there's some draw 2. For me, you know Wizard better than me. Rank the 3 wizards and how good they will be post Rosetta.
So this might be Cope. And I think it is Cope.
Okay.
But I do think Kano is still the best wizard.
Okay.
It lost its tome. It lost its like, oops, I win. And you're like tome into tome into tome, whatever. And it kind of lost that pitch stacking power as well, because you can't like pitch stack tome, 2 blues, tome, 2 blues. But what it gained is a zap that gets you 2 resources on Surge. So those wildfire turns, if let's say Wildfire did 4, now you're zapping for 5. And let's be honest, it's going to hit, so you'll get 2 resources. And then you're only 1 resource off of Kanoing again.
Mm-hmm.
Then bam, open the floodgates for, again, 8 damage or 6 damage because you played Wildfire. That's surging. I'll draw 2. I'll activate Kano again. I'll get 2 more resources because it hit. And then suddenly your opponent's dead. So, while yes, we lost Tome, we got a zap that gives us resources back, which basically makes it cost 1, including the Kano activation, right? So you're only down by 1 resource, and then you have a card that, yes, it costs 2, but it draws you 2 cards on hit. I say on hit because you're really only playing that if you have a way to make sure it hits. But I do think Kano is still real. You still have Epots. You still have Potion of Deja Vu. You still have the helmet that can put a card back with Ragamuffins. You have all the cool stuff that Kano's always had. And now that the format's slowed down, you don't need to be this super fast, oops, all tomes deck. You can be a more like slower deck that can still just combo people out of the game. I also believe you can still pitch stack with the new tome that zaps and the new get to your resource tome zap.
Listen,
I'm trying to say zap as much as I can right now. My brain is.
Yeah, no. Open the floodgates is the draw 2. Overflow the Aether Well is the gain 2 resources. That is an actual zap.
Zap that gets 2 and zap that draws 2.
But that zap costs 2, so it's not a zap.
The other zap pays for it, so it does cost nothing.
Okay, all right. I don't know how
this
you
is wizard things.
I know. I don't know how you wizard players do it. To be honest, this is crazy stuff. It's crazy work, but I don't know. I'm happy for the wizard players. So you put Kano number 1.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing you're gonna put Verdance at number 2.
Sadly, as the Lightning Boy, Verdance is number 2. She has just that fatiguey, grindy, gain life game plan that like a lot of decks wish they could do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the card is good, but even those the sigils that gain 3+1, gain 2+1, gain 1+1 equal to the amount of amount of sigils you've played so far. I don't know if she wants those, but that's also just a tool that she has. If she wants to like super gain life fatigue, she can just gain a ton of life.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, just defensively and having 40 health is just such a difference maker. I mean, this is the first 40 health wizard we've ever seen. So that's like an advantage within itself. And then finally, Oscilio, our boy.
Oscilio. O-S-C-I-L.
You can make me go again. And this is the singing segment. No. So rest in peace, Oscilio.
Please turn to page 4.
Oscilio, you would have loved tomes. You would have loved them so much.
You would have been so good with tomes and Artivore, buddy. James White doesn't want you to succeed.
And I hope we're wrong, to be honest. MoBogsly.
Me too.
I hope we're wrong.
Would love to play him at Worlds. I would love to play him. I think he's good in draft. I think he might be one of the best draft decks.
Yeah.
But just sad.
It's very sad. Wizards. I don't know. It hurts my brain. I've been trying to build wizards all week, and I don't know how you guys do it. It's scary to me. Math is hard.
Well, once you realize every wizard card is below rate, it gets a lot easier.
That's true. I mean, I like, so my favorite thing to do with wizard like brewing is to assume my opponent never has Arcane Barrier.
Oh, wizard's busted then.
It's so good.
I will say sometimes you sit down and they have no AB and you're like 0 AB and they're like, I got Spell Void too, and you're like, oh baby.
Yeah, that's not going to help you here. All right, let's close the tome on wizards.
One more card then.
Oh, one more card. Yes, hit me.
The Fable. Oh, the Fable's
that
card's
good.
insane.
That's a good card.
I think only Kano plays it. If Kano even plays it, the card's sick. It's so cool.
Yeah, I think Will of Arcana. Shout out my buddy Will. When this is pitched, Amp 1. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's only Kano and maybe Blaze. I don't know if Blaze even wants it, but
I think like most Fables, if you got it, play it. Who cares? Just put it in the deck. It's cool. I mean, it's not bad in the other ones, really. I mean, it's really good.
Do what they want to do, which is the problem, right? Like it just doesn't help their game plan.
Yeah. Well, amping's all right. It's a blue that amps.
Yeah, but like Oscilio doesn't want to pitch. If Oscilio is pitching, his turn's probably going bad to begin with.
No. The Oscilio that I'm thinking of is pitching a lot.
We pitch it for Wounded Bull and we amp 1 and then put it on the bottom and say go. No, that's so true.
I mean, listen, it's a thing. All right. So we do have listener questions. Surprisingly, the buds have questions for you, MoBogsly.
That's wild. I'm surprised they still like me.
No, they love you with all their hearts. Capolo asks, which wizard is going to be the best in Blitz?
If Kano's legal, Kano. However, he's not. So like thinking about it, I think it honestly depends on the meta. And that's weird to say. But I think they all have their strengths in Blitz. And it really depends what the meta looks like. I think in a blanket format, Blaze is probably still the best. Blaze just being your normal, like, I'm going to send a ton of arcane damage and see if you've got it or not. Secondly, it's hard because I don't think you have enough time to set up your banish zone in Blitz to really get the Earth online. Like, I don't think you have enough time to decompose and do all that fun stuff and block enough. So I think Oscilio is number 2. I think he'll be fast enough where that 18 life doesn't affect him that much, and he can just kill you. I think if CC was like 30 life, he'd be a lot better. Normally, the games I lose with Oscilio, they're at like 4 or 5, and I'm like, damn, if you started at 38, maybe I would have won this game.
Well, I got news for you. Riptide starts at 38. Who?
What does he do?
Don't worry about it.
That's a hero?
That's a hero. William from the Table Pit asks, how's Kano feel post bans? We kind of talked about this. Also post Rosetta. And also, what does roasted meat taste like? Chicken.
I was going to say it's got to taste like a cat, right? I feel like...
I wouldn't know what that tastes like.
I don't know what it tastes like, but I feel like that's got to be the closest.
I feel like meats look more like squirrels to me, to be honest. They're in like the...
Well, you're from the South originally, right? You probably...
No, I'm from New Jersey.
That's South.
South of what? New York? I mean...
You guys have a lot of rats over there. I'm sure you've tasted a rat before in your life.
No, never a rat. Never a rat. I've had snake. It was pretty good, to be honest.
These Southern folks are just so interesting.
I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, we talked about how Kano feels post bans and post Rosetta. And the roasted meat thing, I'm not sure. I don't know if I would eat a roasted meat. But if everybody was doing it in Wraith, I should probably try it.
I'll try anything once as long as the cool kids are doing it.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, okay, Reinhardt comes up and is like, eat this. Well, you can say no to Reinhardt?
Yeah, I'm like, I can take you. Let's go, Reinhardt. What are you going to do, intimidate me? Oh, no.
And then he does, and you're like, I don't have
Hey, buddy, I started at 40. This isn't Blitz. You can't scare me.
That's true. I don't think we'd start at 40 life. Just so you know. Farsis asks, what are some important things to know about playing Wizard that people often forget? This is a good question.
Yeah, weirdly enough, one of the biggest things is always pitching the Wildfire. Always pitching the Wildfire.
Oh, no, playing Wizard.
Oh, playing Wizard.
Yeah.
Wow. Always play Wildfire on your opponent's turn.
Yes.
No, honestly, I think the number one thing, playing Wizard, when you play your cards, have them facing your opponent so they can read them. So often people don't know what those cards do. Mm-hmm. Always assume that Sonic Boom is going to miss. That's another very important one. Ivaphidia is always on top if you're playing Kano. That's another good one to know. A serious one is, it is normally not worth it to blind Kano. Just like mathematically, it's normally better to block. Mm-hmm. Obviously, sometimes blind Kanoing works, but a lot of new players, when they start playing Kano, they're just like, I'm going to activate Kano here. And I'm like, or you could block and save life. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't need to do that. Another thing is your cards are below rate. So normally blocking and setting up and like chip damage, right? I think Wizards are the best at chip damage because so many opponents are greedy on their resource counts they're like, I only have 1 blue for the turn. If I pitch this, what am I going to do? So you'll just leak free damage all the time. And it's so easy to forget that. Just because you play a ton of blues doesn't mean they play a ton of blues.
Yeah.
I could talk about Wizard all day, and I could keep going.
No, I think those are some really good things.
Always wear your PJs in the mirror. That's another important one.
Oh, the Alluvian Constellos.
You got to bring your PJs to the slumber party.
Absolutely. Always save a slot for those because they are quite good.
That and Waning Moon, you got to have them hand in hand.
Amen. Thanks for the question, Farsis. Turtle Matern, big Kano player, asks, what are your thoughts on the new direction of Wizards this set, pulling back from both turn plays and a larger synergy with physical attacks instead of just pure arcane?
Yeah, so I think the both play turns was why I got into Wizards and Flesh and Blood to begin with. I've had before, like the video of LSV playing Kano was like, wow, this game seems cool. But I'm also okay with this. I really wish we had Wizard attacks. We got like, they want us to play attacks in our deck. Give us some cool ones that just like only we can play, you know? Give us like a 0 for 3 go again amped 1. I get Fry is basically a 0 for 3 go again amp 1. But I just want like more cool attacks that just the Wizards can play. Like stuff that we have in our little toolbox that like are kind of sick.
It is crazy that we didn't even get one this set.
Just one. Just one James White.
James White. It's only down to James White.
Wizards have always had like wizard only attacks for the most part. Like Nourishing Emptiness for the longest time was just a Kano card. Like other decks have played it, obviously. Other decks like Dory have made it popular, but that's always felt like a Kano card to me, at least, wizard card. But we don't really have any like staple. This attack is clearly for wizards.
I would say the Eclectic Magnetism is close. It looks like a wizard. It does.
Yeah, but I just wish maybe had Go Again. Maybe did something else. Being like, it's a cool card, but no Go Again I think is really holding it back.
Yeah, but you can make an embodiment. How about that? Just saying. MoBogsly. That card is so cool. Final question comes from Anna Shreve, aka the Rune Babe, Dr. Rune Babe. What is the best and worst minigame in Mario Party?
How long do we got, Tommy? What's my time limit so I can start a clock right now on my phone and know how long I have for this? I don't want to go overboard, obviously.
You get a minute. You get a minute.
A minute. All right, let me start my stopwatch right now for the folks at home. So the best minigame is hard because there's so many good minigames in the last, 10, 11 games?
I think more than that at this point.
I think one of the classics I always think about is the one when you're on the ball and you're trying to push each other off the edge. I think that was a Mario Party 2 minigame, maybe Mario Party 1.
Holy but goody.
There's different maps, right? Like some had hills, some had like obstacles you could push each other off. The best 2v2 minigame is the 2v2 you're going to like a dungeon and one person had like crank something to spin the wheel and the other person had to go on, get to their side, and crank it back for you. And that was a fun team one. The best 1v3 one is the one where you're on the tube.
Tube it or lose it.
Tube it or lose it. There's one dude on a big tube, 3 people on a small tube, and you just had to knock them off. The best Bowser mini game. Oh man, that's hard. What is the best? All right, we'll skip that one. Now the worst mini games. I think the worst 1v1 mini game. Oh god, it's a minute already. Can I have another minute?
Sure.
All right, the best, the worst 1v1 mini game is any mashing mini game. Let's be honest. I don't think mashing mini games are fun. I think if it was a mini game where like do this, then mash, then do this, then mash, is fun. But it's just like mash as fast as you can, or the one you'd like N64 one where you'd like spin your hand on the joystick like this really fast.
So
like,
many broken controllers over those mini games. Yeah.
Why? The worst 2v2 mini game is any mini game where your teammate's just a dummy. If you're stuck with the computer, good luck, bud. You're not winning those at all. It's toast. And the worst 1v3 mini game is the stupid one with the spotlights. And you have to dive underwater to dodge the spotlights.
Oh yeah.
I hate that one. I hate that one so much.
Yeah, there's some bangers. My favorite is Pushy Penguins. We said that before we started recording, but I'm a big Pushy Penguins. Pushy Penguins meta is pretty insane these days. It's crazy. So that's gonna do it, MoBogsly.
One more thing.
What?
One more thing about Mario Party.
Oh,
anybody at Worlds?
Oh, yes.
Anybody at Worlds? We will have about 3 to 6 Nintendo Switches at our Airbnb. And we will have, I believe, 2 to 3 copies of the new Mario Party game that comes out like October 18th. So anyone else wants to come and party, our Airbnb in Osaka is going to be the Mario Party house. There will be a $20 coverage fee that if you lose, you don't get it back. Winner takes all.
Oh my God. I would check with local legislation on that one. I'm not sure. That sounds awesome and makes me even more jealous that people are going to Osaka because I wouldn't even play Fab. I would just be jamming Mario Party.
Yes, sir. I bought a PTI, not even going to use it.
The EV's insane at the Mario Party house. So that's going to do it. Please go check out the Mario Party house in Osaka. For those who are going, this has been another episode of Fresh and Buzz. You can please find MoBogsly. Somebody plug everything that you need to plug. I was about to skip to myself. What's wrong with me?
Wow. You see what kind of host this guy is? Forgets what questions he's asked me before. Doesn't want to plug me.
Oh,
Crazy.
Unsub now. It's okay.
Follow me on Twitter at MoBogsly. Follow me on YouTube at MoBogsly. Follow MinMax Games, the sponsor of Team Ascent. Follow Team Ascent. Check out Cosmic Conquest, the board game that I helped develop by the Alpha Clash guys. It just went live yesterday on GameFound. I believe it's at 40,000 already in the first like 20 hours. That's pretty sick. Check out Tommy's podcast. Check out his indie podcast.
Thank you. I'm going to do that too.
God, there's so many things that we could check out. But yeah, it was fun. Check out the Mario Party house first and foremost.
Mario Party house is going to be insane. Thank you, MoBogsly. It's always fun having you on.
Wish I could say the same.
You see what I submit myself to. It's just bullying all the time. You can continue to find me on Twitter at freshbudspod. Check out the YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. Check out the Buds Discord. All of this is in the show notes. Check out Fresh Juice, an indie game podcast I do with my cousin. And then finally, food. What are you looking forward to eating in Osaka?
Ooh, last time I went, I had so much good food. When I went to Tokyo, I think my game plan is to, 1, get another deep fried lasagna. That was amazing. Super good. Check out this bar called the Buccaneer Bar, where you go in, you tell them your favorite character, and they'll make you a drink that kind of looks like it, and you don't know what's in it. You can just say, like, I want Lightning McQueen, and we'll give you, like, a red and yellow drink that you don't know what's in it. They just give it to you.
Here it is.
And just more chicken. Their fried chicken is so good. I went to this one place where they had a bunch of cheese, and they melted the cheese in front of you, and then you dipped your, like, buffalo chicken in the cheese. Amazing. So good.
My God. I got to figure out what I'm making for dinner tonight, and all that sounds really good. You know what? We also don't have time for Charmer, unfortunately, but please stay fresh. The set reviews next week. Me and Bill will be banging that out. We're going to tell you everything about how we feel about these cards. I'll learn the names if it's the last thing I do. And thank you all. Thank you, MoBogsly. Stay fresh.